What's going on, guys? I want to welcome you back. We've got our last OTA for the Thunderbolt season, and this one is full of some sweet surprises, buffs-wise, some other not surprising things, but otherwise, rather tame. And I know what you guys might be thinking. Did you kill Cookie Monster and his entire family to make this jacket? And the answer is a resounding yes. Now, we're going to start off. I'm going to try my hardest here and my best to act surprised at the first change in today's patch. Here we go. Red Hulk is being nerfed. Oh my god! Now, we all saw this coming from a mile away, but Red Hulk is going down. Essentially, he's staying the same, but he's going from a 6'11 down to a 6'9. And, well, if you saw this segment, but I would be shocked if he's not the inverse of Hercules, who got the fastest buff that we pretty much have ever seen in the game. Red Hulk might be getting a nerf soon. I don't know. Enjoy him while he lasts. Let's face it, guys, this was pretty obvious. I mean, who would have thought that a card that should be in every single deck in the game, capable of 30-plus power, was a tad bit too strong for the mobile game Marvel Snap? But ultimately, guys, it's -2 power on his base, not on his ability. I thought that's what they were going to change. Maybe when your opponent, have unspent energy, that it was going to go maybe +3 instead of +4. So this doesn't drastically change much for the big red guy and still puts him as a top tier 6 cost card most of the time, just a little less power. Now, if you guys haven't seen X-Men 97, go check it out. Phenomenal series. Now, that's going to take us away from the nerfs, and we're on to the buffs. And if you guys have been watching the channel for a while now, you know I'm a huge stan, which I've been trying to use that word more. I heard it's kind of hip with the younglings, of Jean freaking Grey. She's had a couple problems, though, and mainly it's that you're using your turn 3 to play Jean Grey, and it affects both of you, and most of the time, it's just tough to pull it off. You're better off just playing Storm. Well, she's getting buffed finally. They're taking her from a 3-3 up to a 3-4. And as someone who plays a fair amount of Jean Grey, let me be the first to welcome you in. It's great to be a part of the JG fan club. But also, I don't think this radically changes her viability. She is good against a lot of decks out there. Annihilus, Hela, Destroy. They can't stand playing against her. And she's also really good in some meta decks, like the ones with Angela, Jeff. You can move out of the lane, build it up later. Elsa's phenomenal. Really bad against Kitty Pryde. We're going to have to see if this power change really makes a drastic difference. But my best advice to you is either play a meta deck like the movement one, or play a control build with Cosmo, Negasonic. Those are awesome and work really well with Jean Grey. Now, to no one's surprise, I'll definitely be making a deck featuring Jean Grey probably for my next video. But in other non-surprising news, if you saw this clip from my video last week, I didn't get to do my review on him. I was on vacation, so I'll just do it now. 1-1-1 and 5. Then you, alongside myself, were probably expecting U.S. Agent to get a buff because he was pretty damn bad, although I didn't expect it to happen this fast. Essentially, they're just going to be adding to his ability instead of -3 power that you'll be inflicting with an ongoing ability to 4, 5s, and 6s. It's -4. Now, this happened to release when Zabu went to the grave, and that means a lot of 4-cost cards have gone down, and that's why he's not exactly performing up to speed. He's still not going to be that great. I hate to say it. If we have a wave or a meta that has a lot of 4, 5s, and 6s, then he'll be better. But, a 2-7 isn't terrible by any means. You can maybe fit him in the Cerebra decks if you're already playing him. Maybe put him in Cerebro 3, but it's a little risky still and just not worth 5,000 tokens. I mean, this is a card that you're just never going to want to buy. But, he might be a little bit better. Now, moving on to the next buff, and this one is absolutely awesome for this archetype and the card itself. Jane Foster is going from a 5-8, keeping her same ability, and they're just bumping her up to a 5-9. There was like a hot, quick season where Jane Foster and Beta Ray build decks were everywhere, and then it kind of died off. And I think this is a good change, and I'll tell you why. You might be thinking, she's already really strong, right? Mr. Negative decks, obviously the Thor decks, but very easy to telegraph, right? Like, that deck is so hard to get 8 cube wins with, because if you play Thor and Beta and then you play Jane, they already know and are expecting the crazy power to happen. And so 5-9 is just a good stat if you don't get the Thors down, and provides her a little bit of extra oomph, if you will, and makes her way better in the negative decks. Sandman also is kind of always in the meta, so that kind of slows her down if he's played on turn 5. And ultimately, I think this deck is going to return a little bit to the meta. People have kind of slept on it for a while, and it's always been good. Like the Annihilus package, you only need a couple of cards to really pop off. This is kind of the same thing. And so both of those are going to be great decks you're going to see a lot of. I would expect the junk kind of decks to probably be addressed in a few weeks. They're kind of creeping up everywhere. Maybe they don't, but at least we do have a little Jane Foster to to keep us busy. Now for this next one, we've got a card that a lot of people love, and I think she's going to be better and better as we see discard growing in the metagame. Around a year ago, she was reduced in power, and now she's going to a 5/7 yet again, and I cannot wait to play Stature. First of all, obviously, we got a lot of Hela, a lot of discard decks, so we know she's going to be good in just like value decks or in specific decks, trying to get your opponent to discard. But hear me out, guys. Cerebra 7 might be a decently good deck now. We have a lot of cards like Onslaught that can pair up with Cerebra. We have Swordmaster, Stature, Black Bolt. I'm actually glad they didn't rise up Black Bolt to an 8 power. Kind of sad in some veins, but now that means we can try out C7, and it may not be absolutely awful outside of, you know, the typical location BS. But yeah, this is pretty cool and exciting. I think Mobius keeps her in check if she was, you know, too crazy, which we didn't have when she dominated the metagame not long ago. And it's just a good value card overall that probably a lot of people have because she's been in like a billion spotlight caches. And then last but not least, actually probably least, we have Mantis, who has now received 3, and I kid you not, 3 changes before Captain America has got even 1. You probably didn't even know this, but she was a 2/2 on reveal. If you played her where your opponent played a card, you could copy one of those into your hand, and this was used maybe in very niche cases to go ahead and take a Venom, where they're taking her down to a 1/2. And funny enough, I'm not going to play another clip for you guys, but I just said this in the Snapchat, that she's one of the worst cards in the game. Take her to a 1 cost, and maybe we can start talking. However, the more I think about it, you're not going to be playing her in Cerebro 2. Hell no, because you're going to copy a card you probably can't even play. I think she's okay paired with White Widow. People don't realize that White Widow has a semi-Jean Grey effect, right? Where you know they're going to probably try to play there, and so it's not horrible there. But ultimately, she's a fun card to mess around with. She's just not going to make the cut, most likely, in a 12-card deck. But she has moved back down to 1. She's gone, like, all over the place now, and she's finally, hopefully, going to rest right here. And this is also my weekly message to the Balance team to buff Captain America. But that's going to be it, guys, for today's OTA patch. Definitely some changes and some cool decks that are going to rise from this. If you guys haven't already, about 60% of you guys that watch me every day, not every day, but a lot of time, have not subscribed to the channel. Helps me out with just 1 click. And also to you guys, I'm going to bring back a video series of y'all's choice, okay? The return of Wheel of Snap, a new Snap game show, maybe the Gauntlet, or some interviews with notable status Marvel Snap people. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys would like to see. And as always, good luck out there. We'll see you on the next one, and happy snapping.